Capital Federal, True Blue for over 120 years presents Between the Lines with Kevin Kietzman on America's largest all-sports radio station, Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Surprise!
I'm standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Between the Lines at Royal Spring Training.
Well, we're about 5 days too late for the NASCAR guys out here. We were near the track last night. I still haven't been to a race there. It is well south of where the Royals train. Last week they had the NASCAR stop here in the Phoenix area. They've moved up the road to Vegas, the West Coast swing, if you will. And the RacinBoys join us here today, Scott and Kirk, to talk about that and things going on in motorsports. How you boys doing today? Everything good?
Doing good, Kevin. How you doing?
I'm well, man. I'm at spring training. What's better than that?
Well, I know. I've lived out there for the last month. I'm back here in Missouri, and it's a little chillier here, but I think we brought some warm weather back. It looks like it's heating up as we speak. So
yeah, you were gone for about a month. You couldn't have picked
days.
a better time to be gone from Kansas City, could you?
Leaving this after tomorrow's show and headed down to Charlotte, where I'm going to go to the Bristol race next weekend, Kevin. So that's one of my favorite races. Haven't been out there in a couple of years. Looking forward to it.
Now, what do Charlotte and the Bristol race? I don't understand. You're going to Charlotte, you're going to Bristol for the Bristol race, right?
Right. We're going to Charlotte, have some business down there that I need to take care of. And while I'm down there, it's about, 3.5, 4 hours up the road to Bristol. So I figured we'd go up there and watch that.
Is there a certain part of Charlotte, a certain suburb or certain area where all these NASCAR teams are headquartered, or are they spread out all over the city?
Concord, really, a lot of the teams were based out of Mooresville for a lot of years. They've kind of spread themselves out a little bit. There's a couple areas, Lakeside Park, which is the high end, the Overland Park area for Sprint Cup teams, and then they have an area that's got, Craftsman, the Camping World Truck Series as well as the Nationwide Series area, and that is over what they call by the drag strip. That's on Performance Road, which is about probably 7 or 8 miles away from that high rent area. So a couple of different sections, and then you go down around Charlotte. There's some teams like Hendrick Motorsports is down there. Joe Gibbs Racing is down in Concord in that area, which is a little bit closer to the track.
It's all north of Charlotte.
Right, off of 77, exit 36 off of Interstate 77, just north of Charlotte.
So Hendricks and Gibbs are close to each other.
Correct. They're closer to the Speedway. Mm-hmm.
The big boys, the big winners, like to stay close to the Speedway, huh?
Well, no, there's a lot of good teams that are up there at Lakeside Park. I just think that over the course of time, some of the teams wanted some separation maybe so they can't visually look at what the other people are doing. There's a lot of Spygate that goes on down there. A lot of people trying to look at what everybody else is doing, and I think that's why they've spread themselves out.
How did the Charlotte area become this place? How is it not Daytona?
Well, I think a lot of it, you have to first look at Charlotte Motor Speedway, one of the oldest tracks in NASCAR. When NASCAR first got started back in 1949, there weren't that many super speedways. They built Darlington, which is about an hour and a half away from Charlotte. And then the Charlotte Motor Speedway was built in about 1960. There were just Daytona and Charlotte. So I think just with the location and the proximity to all of the racetracks that these guys raced at the time, that was a large city, so everybody just kind of congregated around that area, and namely Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And not only that, Daytona's like 8 hours away from Charlotte. There's really not a lot of racetracks close to Daytona International Speedway.
And don't they have to, a lot of the things that emanate from there are guys driving a truck or something, or a van, or one of those big things carrying cars, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So that's more centrally located, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And again, I think it's just the history. That's where it started, up in the the mountains of North Carolina, the moonshiners up in that area, and I think that has a lot to do with it too.
How many men, women? Let's be fair here. How many men and women are on a typical team? How many people were in uniform for Jimmy Johnson in Daytona, and then part of the team here in Phoenix last week?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's somewhere around 500 employees for Hendrick Motorsports overall. Okay. Now, at the track, I would say they would probably have somewhere between the big teams, 20 to 30 members at the track, smaller teams, 15 to 25.
All right, so let's say Jimmy Johnson has 30 team members. Mm-hmm. And does that include a couple of publicists and things like that? Suits, guys with shirts and ties, whatever.
I would say that the entire team
includes those. Okay.
Yeah, the handlers.
Okay, so how many of those guys? Let's say I'm using guys generically. Please don't take offense to it. But of those guys, let's say there's 30 of them in Daytona, then the same 30 people are in Phoenix. How many of them are getting on the road and driving from Daytona to Phoenix with all that stuff? And how many are getting on airplanes and going from Daytona to Phoenix?
I would say 2 drive the rig out there with all the equipment. Everybody else flies.
And what they'll do on race day is they'll have a big jet aircraft that'll take crews not just from one race team but several race teams and fly them out of Charlotte on Sunday morning to whatever race they're at and then be back home that night. So they won't have any overnight stays, no hotel bills or anything like that.
What do those people do?
Over-the-wall people that do the pit stops and
people that are only needed on
race day. Right?
Yeah. And I will tell you, Jack Roush has a service. It's almost like a limousine service, but with an airplane. They shuttle people back and forth.
No, I've heard this. I've heard that. Mm-hmm. Why? There's a Saturday race, too, and a lot of times a Friday night race. These are all different people at all different races? What if Carl Edwards was running on Saturday and Sunday?
You got different crews for the nationwide cars than you do for the Cup cars. Different pit crews all the way.
Really the right thing to do, these pit crews, those are very, very, very important jobs, right?
Yes, but
You're
also
telling me
have...
they get up on... Now, come on.
What?
They're getting up on Sunday morning, and they're in Phoenix by noon, and they're going to change the tires during the race? What if there's a mechanical problem or a weather issue? There's no way, guys. They can't do that.
No, listen. The guys that are needed on race day fly in on race day. There's a select, I would say probably half or maybe 3/4 of the team arrives on Wednesday or Thursday, and then the rest of the team.
Who are the race day guys?
Over-the-wall guys, those kind of guys.
I'm a tire changer.
Right,
I'm a tire changer.
Right. That's all they do.
You're telling me
that's all
you
they
got
do.
4 tire changers or whatever. You got these over-the-wall guys.
Yep.
They're getting on a plane in Charlotte on Sunday morning and flying to Phoenix and doing the race.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Yeah. No, it happens all the time. Yeah.
What if there's a weather issue or a mechanical problem? Who's going to change the tires?
They have people that are there that handle those job duties.
Well, you mean if they have a weather issue, then I've never heard of that happening before, but they've got enough people. They've got enough people at the track that if there was some kind of a delay,
Kevin, I'm sure they take a look at the forecast, and if they can foresee some bad weather, that they might leave a little early. But typically, if they know that there's not going to be any bad weather, they'll fly in the day of the race.
Chartering flights and flying in and out on the same day is a lot more expensive than getting a hotel room and having them fly on Saturday and Monday.
Not when you share the expense with somebody with 5 teams and there's 200 people on one plane.
No way. I'm not sure I'm buying this.
I
got to look into this. I love you guys. I'm not sure I believe this.
Hey, Kevin, bank on it. What we're telling you is true.
You're telling me
there's pretty certain on it.
There's no tire changers. Dale Jr. does not have any tire changers in Las Vegas right now. It's Friday afternoon.
That's right.
That's right.
They got the
and that dude, whoever that is going to...
and a couple of guys that work on the car in the garage area during practice.
So somebody's going to wake up at like 4:30 in the morning. Wait a second. Some dude's going to wake up at like 4:30 in the morning on Sunday morning, okay? He's going to go to the airport. He's going to get on a jet. He's going to fly from Charlotte to Las Vegas. He's going to get in a car or a helicopter or whatever and go to the track, get there presumably an hour or two before the race, do his job, get back, go to the plane, fly back home. That's what's going to happen.
Correct.
That's how they do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Danny, you buying this?
Well, they sound pretty certain. These teams, I guess if you bought the plane, just as an investment, then they're really, once you pay for it, there's no more cost to use the plane.
Except for the fuel and the crew.
It's a shuttle service again. This is
a shuttle service.
That's how they look at it. Kevin, it's no different than you getting in your car driving 3 hours to somewhere. That's how they look at it.
I want to know what happens if that plane...
They look at it as commuting across town.
I want to know what happens to the NASCAR race this Sunday if that plane has a mechanical issue or there are weather delays and those people don't get there. What happens?
I'm sure they're, again, looking at the forecast and determining if there is any chance of weather conditions, and if there is, they will leave early.
Okay. What if, like the Oakland A's a couple of years ago, they're flying from Oakland to Chicago, or not Chicago, Oakland to somewhere. They're flying across the country. And a warning, a mechanical light comes on the plane. It's hydraulic, something, whatever. We got to go down. We got to land. We got to land the plane. They land in Salina, Kansas.
I get it.
They landed in Salina, Kansas. Okay, big runway. We're going down. Here we go. Let's land there. Here's what happened in Salina. We don't have the part. We don't have it. We can either fly it in or fly in a new jet. Mm-hmm. They fly in a new jet. The A's take all night long to get where they're going. They don't get to their hotel the next day till like noon. They got a 7 o'clock game that night. Took them forever to get there. There is no way they would NASCAR race with that kind of an issue on a plane. I'm asking you, if that happens, everything was safe and fine, but you had to do it. What would they do?
NASCAR would hold up the race probably because it affects so many teams.
No. Here, listen. Kirk, you know that's crazy. They wouldn't hold up the race for some crew members. Here's what would happen, Kevin, and I would say that this is very good chance this is exactly what would happen. I'm sure that they're out of those 15 or 20 guys that are at the racetrack that are serving as crew members during the week from Thursday till Sunday that are really looking for a job as a tire changer or a jackman or what have you, over-the-wall guy. And I'm sure that they have practiced, and they are like the B team, and I'm sure that they have people that are in the pits that are prepared to do the job if they need to do it. Right.
That's wild. We talk to Kevin Harlan every week on this show. He, by rule at CBS and Turner, he has to be in the city where he does the game the night before. He has to be in a hotel. They will not let them travel on the day of the game because they can't run the risk of Kevin Harlan not being there.
Well, I think this is, again, a benefit of having 20 to 25, 30 crew members there, that there's guys. Listen, every guy that works in that garage area, their goal is either to be a driver someday or to be an over-the-wall guy or a crew chief or a car chief. Those are the jobs that everybody wants. The other jobs are just grunt jobs. And I'm sure those guys that are doing the grunt jobs, that are changing the shocks, jacking the car up, doing the tire temperatures and pressures and everything that are in the garage, those guys want to go over the wall, and I'm sure they have been preparing for the moment they get the chance.
Danny and Kirk, you tell me if you agree with me. Of all the behind-the-scenes things we see in sports, all the new reality shows, things like that, I can't think of anything that would be more interesting than at least a 30-minute documentary on these guys who get up at 4 in the morning on a Sunday and fly wherever it is they're going to a race, and you embed somebody with a camera, an entire crew, from the house to the car to the airport, on the plane, getting to the track, all that would be a fascinating documentary to see what these guys do in one day.
Well, I agree with that. It also does seem a little cheap to me.
I think it sounds expensive, actually. It sounds to me like they're spoiled, and certain special people, say, well, I'll keep doing this, but I don't want to be out on the road 3 or 4 nights a week because I got a family.
What's
it almost sounds to me like they're spoiled.
Danny,
there's nothing cheap about it.
Yeah.
Well, it just seems like for the sake of
hotel
rooms, they're risking, a race potentially.
I disagree with you. I just think that the availability of motel
Why did they
rooms,
do it?
The availability of motel rooms might be an issue. Maybe not in Vegas. Not in Vegas, but in some areas.
They can plan a year and 2 years in advance, or a year in advance anyway.
Well, let's be fair. These motel rooms like to gouge the people when they show up for these races. So if you're talking about 40 motel rooms at $200 a night, that starts adding up.
And not only that, there's just no reason for these guys to be there before the race. I mean, their one job is to be over the wall and be part of the pit crew, to either be the gas man or change tires or be the jack man, and they're only needed on race day. So they
And so what do they do at home? They practice all week? I mean, how do they practice their craft?
They practice all week. A lot of these over-the-wall guys, the really elite guys, make 6 figures to do so.
Yeah. I believe that.
So
that's why I can't believe they don't fly them in the day before.
Right. Well, I understand your concerns there. And, again, they probably do fly in early if they see some kind of issue out there weather-wise. But
also, wouldn't it be, wouldn't you think you'd have some of these races start at noon, right? Mm-hmm. Local time, something like that. Wouldn't it be a fresher guy to change the tires, to
fatigue issues,
have sat in a got a not good night's rest? I mean, you can't control everything. The guy could go out and, tear the town up, I guess. But, I mean,
especially in Vegas.
Right. But
wouldn't you sleep better in your own bed than you would a motel room bed?
Yeah, but if you got to get up at 4 and then sit on a plane and probably take a nap on the plane and get all half groggy, I don't know. You know how you feel when you fly.
Yeah. You know what? I would love to have that kind of gig to where you had to get up and just fly in, do your bit, come home, sleep in your bed every night. I think that would be a sweet deal.
And it's not like they have to hang out at an airport somewhere. They go right to the airport and right on the plane, and they're flying out. So It's
yeah,
not.
you guys need to get embedded. You need to get your cameras, RacinBoys.com, and do this documentary. I want to. When you get to Charlotte, talk to somebody, Scott, and say, I want to fly on this plane. Pick a place. How about Charlotte to Dallas when they race at Texas? Is that coming up in a few weeks?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, good. Charlotte to Dallas. I want to find one of these guys. Pick a crew. Pick a tire changer. Go to his house. Say we're going to spend the night there the night before. They'll let you sleep on the couch, whatever. And when they get up that morning, start documenting everything that guy does all day. That would be one of the most fascinating things we've ever seen.
I'm sure I could make that happen. You know, I've got a couple friends down there. We'll see what we can put together on that. At least one race during the season. Maybe we can pull that off. I don't know which one it would be.
How has that not been documented? How have we not seen that?
There has been some documentaries on that before. Sure.
Really?
Yeah. If you go back, I can't think of what show, but I've seen where they followed a crew member around for the entire day, and but I can't think of it.
Some of the
offhand
pre-race
what show
shows they've had on Fox or ESPN's had a story about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Royals ought to keep James Shields behind and just fly him up on the day he pitches.
It's been done.
Yeah,
I mean, they send him home sometimes, for the
early.
Early for a home game, the start of a home.
Not on a charter. They put him on a commercial flight. It's actually work travel for.
Right.
They got to go to the airport, fight the crowds, get on a plane and do their thing and get home a day early. Yeah, they do that. But I mean, imagine if the Royals were playing in Chicago. This is what it would be. Royals have a 4-game weekend set in Chicago. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. James Shields is starting the 1:10 game on Sunday afternoon. And to save hotel rooms for 3 nights, the Royals are going to fly James Shields up on Sunday morning. And he's going to fly back right after the game, and there's no hotel room for James Shields.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good thing, would it, for James?
No, it's not a good thing in NASCAR. I just can't believe I'm hearing this.
Right. Well, we'll do that. We'll see. You know who would be a good driver to follow around, and I think I can make this happen, would be Kyle Larson.
Boyer?
Kyle Larson or Clint Boyer.
One of the
those
rookie drivers.
Well, what would be good is to follow Trent Owens around because he's the crew chief. He's the leader of the team, but he flies in on
he's
Thursday.
there all week.
Yeah, he's not. You wouldn't want to do it with him.
I want to see somebody who comes and goes on race day.
That sounds like a fascinating story to do, and that's something we'll look into, Kevin.
All right, very good. They're in Vegas this week. Dale Jr. is the entire story of this sport right now. He wins Daytona. He finishes second last week. You know how much I hate second, but he ran really well again last week in Phoenix. He couldn't win. He wasn't quite fast enough, but another good run. It's only 2 races. It's only early. Is Dale Jr. the man this year?
I think you'd have to say that. But, 2 different kinds of racetracks. Restrictor plate track that Dale Jr. has always been good on at Daytona. Now you come to a mile track, totally different kind of racetrack, and he runs well there. But Kevin Harvick was just so dominant last week. But yeah, you got to consider Dale Jr. as a real championship contender the way he's started.
I'm not going to go out on a limb too far yet. It's only the second race. We've got 34 more races to go. Talk to me when we get close to the chase for the championship. Then I'll give you a better opinion if Junior's championship caliber driver. He is a championship caliber driver, I should say. But is he going to be in position to win the championship? I need a few more races
he
before
finished in the top 5 in points last year.
Well, and again, I said that he's a championship caliber driver, but is he up for the championship in 2014? I've got to take a few more races before I can spit that out there.
How much does either good fortune or luck have to do with it?
Plenty. And, I've always believed that luck is 50% of your race as a driver.
Wow.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh,
Really?
absolutely. Yeah, I think so because you
How
have
do you explain Jimmy Johnson's championships?
Well, and the reason I put that percentage on it is because you have so many mechanical working parts, so many different crew members, pit stops, on track, other teams. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong, and when everything comes together and you have a little luck on top of it, that's when you win.
But don't you make your own luck? I think Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus had proved that.
Well, making your own luck when you're leading and your motor blows up has nothing to do with making your own luck. That's bad luck because your motor blew up because
but they do things to prevent that sort of thing from happening.
But again, when thousands of working components control your destiny, luck is a big part of it.
And they just can, and everybody has the same luck factor that you're talking about, so they just can overcome it by the races they have bad luck. They finish higher than the races the other guys have bad luck.
Exactly. It's pretty simple. Yeah.
Qualifying's coming up later today in Vegas. Carl's been very, very fast in practice runs. What do we know about Carl? We haven't talked much about Carl Edwards this year. How's he look to you guys?
Well, he has won at this racetrack twice before, And so far in the practice session earlier today, he had the fastest race car. So the qualifying is very interesting so far. Last week they had the first time where they did the knockout qualifying where they put all the cars out on the track at the same time. They had 3 rounds of qualifying today, and they'll put all 43 cars out there for a half hour, and then they'll have a second session, and then a third session to determine the pole. And I think it's just all up in the air now, just how this is all going to work on a 1.5-mile racetrack. We haven't seen it before as far as qualifying. But Carl definitely, despite where he starts in the race, is going to be a factor on Sunday.
Carl, has the ability always to win. The problem is does the Ford have a chance to win? And the Ford needs to prove a little bit more to me over a long-term period. They were good at Daytona. They were slow at practice, but when they came back down for the Daytona 500, they showed a lot of speed. I need to see speed out of those cars at every configuration of track before I get on board. We know Carl can do it. He's got 1 top 10 finish so far this year, and he's in the top 10 in points. He's 9th in points, I think it is right now. So Carl, yes, can get it done. Can the chassis and the car and the motor and everything that Ford's putting together over there at Roush Yates, can it compete? That's what I've got to see first.
Scott Kirk of the Racing Boys. The website is RacinBoys.com. You can hear her every Saturday morning right here on Sports Radio 810, and they also have a nice webcast at RacinBoys.com. How close are we to the beginning of the local race season? I know the weather's better this weekend in Kansas City. We're still quite a few weeks away, but what are the big issues that you guys are talking about on the website, and what's coming up on the show tomorrow?
Well, we're going to be talking just a little bit about that. Of course, it's been so cold, there's just heavy frost in the ground. Most of the tracks around Kansas City area are dirt tracks, and so the frost is going to have to get out of the ground where it's about as deep as it's ever been through the winter. They have races scheduled next weekend in the United States Modified Touring Series at Heartland Park, Topeka on Friday night, and Saturday night down at Humboldt, Kansas. Is still up in the air whether or not those races will come off. We'll see how the weather goes here this next week, but you get into April, the first part of April, Lakeside Speedway opening up and more of the local racetracks opening. So it's going to be interesting to see how the local racetracks do as we get started with, it's been a long, cold winter for just about everybody.
And just to mention a couple little things on the local front, a track up north of Kansas City in Winston, Missouri went to a new sanctioning body, USRA. I know that doesn't mean much to you, Kevin, but that is a higher quality of modified racing than they've had. They've been running IMCA modifieds up there, so a lot of fodder going on about that. And then Central Missouri Speedway has been closed. Was it been a year or 2 years? And they are reopening with the same owner that owned it when they closed. They've decided to open the track back up, so Central Missouri Speedway is going to be opening back up. I know a lot of people are excited about that, so we've been talking quite a bit about that over the winter.
All right, sounds great. Always appreciate it, guys. Look forward to the race in Vegas this weekend. And, I probably won't be listening tomorrow because I'm out of town. But I appreciate all the great work you do, and it's always fun to chat, man. And I look forward to that documentary, too.
Yeah, and I'm going to get some video while I'm down in Charlotte next week. So we'll have something up on the website. Maybe I can talk to Trent Owens or somebody about that. Maybe they can explain it a little bit better.
That sounds great. Thank you, boys.
All right, Kevin.
Hey, thanks a lot, Kevin.
Okay, buddy, take care. Scott and Kirk, the Racing Boys. The website is RacinBoys.com. It's the fastest website in motorsport. You can follow everything locally, regionally, and nationally at RacinBoys.com. They're outstanding at what they do. All kinds of great video features and interaction with race fans all over the world at RacinBoys.com. It is Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott live from Surprise on Between the Lines.